And also, I like the point you made, I think, in your book about seeding serendipity triggers. And I think you mentioned a guy called Ollie Barrett in London.
Yeah, he's a wonderful entrepreneur, and he is extremely good at casting hooks. So this idea of how do you essentially put something out there where other people can then create, a coincidence out of it. And so, if you would ask him this dreaded question, what do you do? Which puts people into boxes, he would say something like, I'm a education entrepreneur, recently explored the philosophy of science, but what I really enjoy doing is playing the piano. And so what he's doing here is he's giving you 3 potential hooks where you could be like, oh my God, such a coincidence. I've just started hosting piano matinees, you should come by. Or, my God, such a coincidence, my sister is a professor of the philosophy of science, you should give a guest lecture. Yeah. Whatever it is, the point is the more we kind of seed these kind of different dots into conversations, things we're interested in, things we're excited about, the more then other people can essentially connect the dots for us. And so I think that's the beauty where, I'm a big fan of small behavioral shifts. So rather than reinventing our whole life and thinking about how we can do life completely differently, it's a lot about these small things in terms of, how do we answer differently to questions slightly where we see a little bit more interesting things. When someone asks, how are you doing? It could be things such as, oh yeah, no, really great. Like I just finished this book and I was thinking about this, or whatever it is, just kind of like mixing it up a little bit to seed a little bit potential dots where they could be like, oh my God, there could be something there. And the cool thing about this also, of course, is that then every conversation gets much more exciting as well, even the more routine conversations with colleagues.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when I was reading your book, I saw that you like the Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, and I remember reading that when I was a kid. And it's funny how you realize that we have much more in common than we don't, but it's a question of digging under the surface. And I think it's Robert Cialdini, the psychologist. He talks about finding commonalities, and I think it's that whole thing that if you find something in common on a non-work related subject, then you just feel more comfortable with that person. And then what starts as just a talk about a book or a play, hopefully you can move it on to a work situation, which is interesting, I think.
Exactly. And that's exactly, in a way, I mean, if you think about what makes people come together, it's some kind of common denominator, right? And if we enable finding that common denominator in a non-forced way, rather than kind of trying to push something on someone, that is in a way what really creates it. No? And so I feel like that's why I'm a big fan also in terms of, really being like putting, not oversharing, but really kind of like bringing in information that could help the other person. Because I think most people dread small talk, right? We all have to do it, but like if we can make that more meaningful, actually it is relieving for both sides also.
Yeah, and especially if it's not on work, because I think work, it just seems like a hard sell. Where if it's, oh, I saw this great movie or I read this great book, then it just seems a more pleasurable interaction, doesn't it?
Exactly. And especially if you then ask things, right, like what inspired you about it or whatever it is, you also learn about the motivations of people that then also help you, of course, to see a pattern that could also apply them in the work class. Yeah.
And that's actually really interesting, because I think when you're looking at, say, a potential somebody you want to work with, it's trying to understand what is the why, what motivates them. Yep. It's not just about status or money or success, but what is, what gets them up in the morning. And I think that's quite powerful if you can really figure out why they show up, and is there an authentic reason for that, then you're much more likely to want to work with them or hire them or do something together.
Exactly.